This is AC Pin again, and we're now into the castle theme. Besides Star Wars, which is my primary theme that I do mocks for, the next theme that I actually love is doing castle theme. Now the thing is, a lot of mocks that I've seen about the castle theme are all European style, and there's very little of all of the Japanese style castle. And part of the problem, I think, was the fact that there are no castle sets from the eastern side. So once they had Lego group came up with Ninjago, I was so happy with the fact that a lot of the printing and a lot of the styling that they have are actually some ground that base work that I could use for the castle theme. Now this Akai Shiro literally translates to Red Castle, and this is already its fourth iteration.
So what was the first one like? How has it changed?
The first iteration of this one was just the main castle. Now this particular castle, it looks simple enough until a lot of the AFOLs actually notice that the base itself
raised base plates
is 3 raised base plates, which a lot of people don't find any use for it. It's one of those unusable parts because, and they came from the King's Castle from way back. So I kind of was able to figure out, by trial and error, as usually is the case, to make it into, this base structure. And in fact, the initial iteration of this was featured in the Brothers Brick from way back.
It is. I mean, it's pretty slick because it's 2 base plates, and then you put the third right in the middle on the top.
Yeah.
And then it looks like this might be the cleanest use or the best use of raised base plates around. I don't know.
And even now, like other people go like, what are those? And then, they figure out it's a raised base plate. So that's the thing. Now,
cool.
one other thing that when I do these particular structures, there is always an interior.
Oh.
So a lot of other people think that, well, we build sometimes without doing any interior work. But this particular one, I wanted it to have a full interior.
Very cool.
And it has 3 levels, so I just have to be. Okay.
That's awesome.
So this is where the archers, that defend the castle have to be.
That is super cool.
That's the first level.
And you are once again putting very good use to that raised base plate, using that cavity in the center there to do some interesting stuff.
The second level would be the training room. Okay. So right now, everybody's out on the castle grounds, so you don't see anybody training at all.
That's awesome.
And the final top level is a meditation chamber for the sensei. So you'll see that even though you're using a 1-stud wall, both sides, interior and exterior, you can actually put detail that's useful, for both sides of the castle.
Definitely, because a lot of times you have to make it like 2 studs thick, 3 studs thick, so the outside has the right color as the inside, all that kind of stuff.
Well, that's the thing. So, I mean, it takes a bit of practice. One other thing when I did this particular mock is I tried to do, again, a lot of research on Japanese castles. So what I found out is they essentially have a certain theme to it. So color-wise, and the other one is the actual structure. So if you'll notice that the main castle roofs compared to the Shinto shrine roof and even the small huts have similar elements that were used, for the structures. One other nice part usage that everybody notices, scorpions, and they're also used, throughout in the roofs for the main castle, the shrine, and also the smaller huts.
Very cool, very cool. Now, I love the builds are amazing, but the sort of way that you've put everything together is the flow. It just flows very, very beautifully. Describe your planning process for sort of figuring out, like, there's so many scenes here and so many different things going on. How do you plan that out? How do you make that happen?
Well, that also is based on the research that I did, because a lot of the Japanese castles, they had to have a big protective wall. So that's the rock wall, design. And that's how, I followed through. But the thing is, one other thing that had me going on this one is the fact that instead of battling it out in the history, what they did is oftentimes they'll have like a tournament, from the various clans. So in this case, there are 3 different clans. I didn't want to use actual Japanese names, so because I didn't want to offend or make a mistake of using them by mistake. So I just named them the Black Clan, the Blue, and the Red Clan. And if you'll notice in the center ring, we have the sumo wrestlers who have the same, detail.
Oh, the torso, yeah, the little, I guess, what's the actual part name? I have no idea what the part name is. We'll say the I don't even know the proper sumo wrestling name for it, so we'll just say garments. The garments. Yeah. The garments are the colors match to the, that's very cool. Very cool.
And one other thing that's really important on this particular piece is, if I may point you to this is the first collaboration with Brick Warriors.
That's awesome.
A lot of all of the samurai helmets, armor, the weapon, they're all provided by Brick Warriors.
That's awesome. And so, correct me if I'm wrong, are they based in New Jersey as well?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think they might be. Maryland, something like that? Somewhere in the mid-Atlantic, East Coast region. That's very cool, though. And so how did that partnership kind of come together?
Well, the thing is, I always like how they did a lot of the accessories for the ancient, castle themes. So I've actually bought, and I've done mocks, small mocks, using Brick Warriors accessories. And the thing is, in one of the other shows that I've done, they were there, and I actually had an inside view of when I introduced myself to Brian, and he actually showed me, some of the products that they had, forthcoming. Because I kind of pointed out to him at one point, I said, well, you build all of this stuff, but you don't have anything for the samurai, and that stuff. And then I was surprised when he showed me, some of the products that were in line. But the thing is, I already had this, done. So now I had to wait, forever to try to get, the pieces. But I did it. But, it still had, it was great. But after, I've looked at the products that they had, done, it brings it up to another level. Of course, we always have, that other issue with the financial aspect of the hobby. But the great thing also with the hobby is, people collaborate. And when you do have, the same ideas, the same concept, like I said, all you have to do is ask, present a project, and boom, we exchanged a few emails and that stuff on, what.
That's awesome. So shouts out to Brick Warriors, right?
Yeah, and actually we'll see, this may be the first of many. Hopefully.
Very cool. It's almost like there should be like a little Brick Warriors guy standing here during public hours, right? You know, saying Brick Warriors, Brick Warriors. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I think they recognize easily. A lot of the other people already use them and that stuff. But this, in fact, you know, all of the detailing and that stuff gives it a little more authentic feel. That's how I see it. But for adults, you know, it's nice to actually have a whole background story about ancient, you know, warriors and that stuff. But for kids, the very first thing, you know, that they see, and you'll notice in the characters that I use, I actually have the Ninjago characters. So for little kids who like Ninjago, I just nod when they say Ninjago, and I said, okay, problem solved. I don't have to explain anything because they easily get it that, you know, it's ninja. And in fact, I've used a lot of the Ninjago pieces for that. So it works both ways. You know, you try to work, you know, for the younger crowd and also for the adults.
So to close us out here, AC, you mentioned that this is not the first iteration of this build, of this layout here. What do you think is going to be coming in any future iterations? What are your plans?
That I'm not sure yet, but it may expand now sideways because the backside for this particular part in Brick Fair, well, the second iteration of it in Brickfest Live, it didn't have the river because while I was building it, I know I wouldn't be able to finish in time for the show. So I kind of chucked the actual river. So imagine the front part and the main castle, you know, area without the river. Yeah. So that's how it is. But when Brick Fair New Jersey came around in October, I was able to incorporate the river. So that's, you know, the next iteration. Now for here, I kind of thought, well, I've been trying to get into Brick Fair, Virginia, you know, for so long. So I might as well go big.
Go all out, yeah.
Go all out because I don't know, you know, when the next time is going to be.
Very smart.
So now this whole back portion of the whole army, you know, information is the new and expanded layout.
Awesome. So in the future, bigger, better, faster, stronger. Awesome.
And I don't want to take credit for all of this because my wife did all of the landscaping.
Awesome.
She's into gardening, actual gardening. So, you know, she had ideas on how things are going to be. And I told him, run with it. You know, you have the whole play for the landscaping. And I think, you know, it all worked out well.
You two are an epic duo. AC, thank you so much for sharing with us. Wonderful build.
Thank you so much.